Welcome today to our first edition of Inside the Helmet. We have a special show for you all today. Of course, we have our normal analysts, Rod Murray, and League President, Mr. Ryan Holt. Our special guest today is Gridiron Nation co-founder and Vice President Chris Trammell. How's everybody doing today?
Doing well, Jordan. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming.
Doing
It's
pretty
always
good.
a pleasure.
Doing good, can't complain.
First off, as preseason is nearing to an end, let's get the inside scoop on each other's training camps. Holt, why don't you start us off over in Carolina?
Oh, training camp this season's been kind of up and down. Going into training camp this season, we didn't really know what to expect. And kind of looking at a whole new receiving core as far as, Steve Smith leaving, Brandon LaFell, Ted Ginn, a lot of face changes in the offseason. So we got Kelvin Benjamin coming in as a high-profile rookie. Looking forward to seeing what he can do. Defensive side of the ball, obviously, still struggling to find that good, solid secondary. The front seven still is intact from last year, so we're looking for special things out of them. Definitely would just like to see the secondary shore up a little bit. So preseason's been a little bit bumpy. We haven't been able to gel as well as I'd like, but that's growing pains. So I'm optimistic. We're definitely going to be ready for this last preseason game and get ready for opening day.
Now, I got a couple questions for you over there. How do you think your wide receiving core is going to pan out? I mean, you got a lot of changes, like you said. Do you think Benjamin will step up as a number one, or do you think he's going to slide in and kind of have a bad year, as most receivers in their rookie year kind of tend to do bad?
I see something a little different with Kelvin. He's definitely going to step up and be that number one guy. It's going to take some time to build his leadership qualities, but his overall skill, his raw skill alone, it just carries him to that next level. I really see him doing really well and stepping up and being that number one target for Cam. The last two seasons we've kind of lacked that number one receiver. And Steve Smith was here, but he just wasn't doing it. It was like he lost a step or two. So Kelvin, I think, is going to step up into that role really nicely, and he's going to complement Greg Olsen. So I think we'll see an immediate impact from Kelvin. And I think with Cam Newton stepping up as a leader, I think with them both being young, I think they'll kind of grow together. I think we're looking at a good relationship for years to come.
I definitely see the potential there. We'll definitely see how that pans out. My other question for you is, you got Kuechly coming back as one of the first players to ever win Rookie of the Year and then Defensive MVP the following year. You have a lot of new changes. I mean, you lost Mike Mitchell. You got a lot of new defensive faces on that team. Do you think Kuechly's leadership finally steps in and kind of brings the team together?
Absolutely. I think, the first year that Kuechly came in the year, I think he kind of, as a rookie, he was still learning, and he had such a great impact, over 100 tackles, defensive rookie of the year. He had a phenomenal year. And then that next year, I think he finally hit the ground running. He kind of had that ability to, he understood the defense. He understood what the direction we were going in. So, he was able to really make an even better impact, and he wins Defensive Player of the Year. So I think this year you're going to really see a great impact from Kuechly as far as leadership is concerned. And he's pretty much already in training camp taking that front seven and saying, hey, this is my team. And I'm going to do everything I can to make sure, that we're, headed in the right direction. So definitely, we got two new safeties, Roman Harper, Thomas Deku. I think those guys are veterans, and I think they also look up to Luke Kuechly's leadership. So I think Luke Kuechly is really going to be that building block of this defense, and I think the newer faces are automatically just drawn to him because of his natural ability to play the game as well as his natural leadership.
Well, thanks for the inside information. Let's go over to Jacksonville, one of the more exciting training camps here in the NFL and the Gridiron Nation. Obviously, Chad Henne was cut. You bring in Joe Webb. Is there a quarterback battle at all with Bortles, or is he kind of given the job, considering you cut Henne, his really only competition?
There's no quarterback battle. Bortles is our man. We knew that when we drafted number 3 overall this past offseason. Joe Webb just brings a different dynamic to the team with his ability to run the ball. I like to tell Joe all the time in practice, we brought him in for his mobility, not his ability. So there's no type of competition there. Joe is a serviceable quarterback in that right, but it's Bortles' job, and he'll carry us on to the season.
Thank you for the information on that. Bortles definitely seems like he's going to have something coming for him. You have one of the most dynamic draft classes really because you have brought a ton of receivers in. I mean, you got Hearns, who was undrafted, and he's already up in the depth chart. How do you think your young offense is going to really shape out? I mean, you got Storm Johnson at running back.
I'm just asking them to compete. That's been our theme going in the training camp. Just compete, 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 and always win the yardage battle. Got Storm Johnson and Bortles, hoping to keep that familiar tandem together as it was back at UCF. They can just bring that success they had onto in NFL. Allen Hearns, Marquise Lee, Allen Robinson from Penn State. I have an aggressive wide receiver core, big wide receivers that can stretch the field. And then I have Cecil Shorts who can play slot. So on the offensive side of the ball, I think our firepower that we have with potential is up there with some of the better teams in the NFL. But we just got to come out and compete every weekend.
Now, going off of that young offense, do you think they're really going to play? Do you think it's going to be an advantage or disadvantage? Because, I mean, there's always advantages and disadvantages for playing young guys. I mean, one, they can shake things off real easily, but at the same time, they can have a long impression on them. I mean, look at the Royals, for example, in baseball. They're underdogs. They know they're not supposed to be there, and they're playing all out. And that's why they've done so well. I mean, do you think that young offense really helps them, or do you think it's going to hurt? I mean, they can either come together or they could fall. What are your opinions on that?
I don't think it hurts us. It doesn't put us at any disadvantage. They're all coming from some type of success at the collegiate level, so we're not just talking about guys that haven't earned their right to play in the NFL on Sunday. So you're looking at a team that's young, they're hungry, and they got something to prove. 4-12 last year is an embarrassment. An embarrassing game against the Lions this past week in the preseason. So when you out there and you want to compete and you're hungry and you got a chip on your shoulder because everybody's already written you off before the season starts, you can't do anything but go out and do your best every week. So I think we're at an advantage where everybody thinks we're just going to be slaps. We're actually going to come out there and slap people in the mouth and you know what I'm saying, drive the ball down the field.
Definitely exciting to see. Now, going on your defensive side of the ball, it's kind of more the opposite. You saw a lot of big transactions come in. Red Bryant, Chris Clemens. You got Puslesny in the middle. It's kind of an older kind of defense, but at the same time, your secondary is real young. Do you think that the older guys in the front seven kind of teach the defensive backs a little bit, or how do you think that'll fare out in the defense? You got a lot of veterans there with a lot of leadership.
Like you said, my front seven is experienced from Chris Clemens, who's going to definitely shore up my defensive line, with Red Bryant moving down to a defensive tackle with Cedric Marks and also Andre Branch. Then, like I said, I got Paul Punzlowski and then Geno Hayes. But then I'm also excited about Telvin Smith, the rookie out of Florida State, with his explosive speed and what he can do to get on the edges. So I'll be up front. I'm pretty sound. In my secondary, there's some experience back there as well. Dwayne Grants is not a newbie to the system, and Jonathan Seaborn has played great this past year. So I think our defense is going to have its growing pains, but about 4 weeks in the season, we'll be pretty seasoned. And when we start to get into our division play, we'll be fine. We'll be able to stick with those great passing attacks that they have in Indy and out in Houston.
That, like I said before, definitely exciting to see. I'm really hoping to see you guys pan out and hopefully some success coming to Jacksonville for the first time in a long time. Now let's go over to Indianapolis over here. We got Chris. One of the more interesting stories in the preseason is that running back battle between Ahmad Bradshaw and Trent Richardson. Can you give some insider information on that?
We're gonna go with Trent Richardson to start, but it's gonna be more of a two-back thing. We're gonna sub in Ahmad Bradshaw because he puts in he adds to our running game. They've both been doing great in the preseason so far. I think Ahmad had over 100 yards last game. So, I mean, it's going to be a battle the entire year. Hopefully we get them both up over 1,000 yards, but we'll see how everything goes.
Definitely interesting. I mean, Bradshaw has had success, and look to see Trent Richardson finally get some movement over there. Now, one of the biggest complaints that fans had about Indianapolis was the weapons for Andrew Luck. They just said he didn't have that many. And now you have Dwayne Allen, who stepped up last year. He's starting to get a bigger role. You also bring in Akeem Nicks, and you got some height, you got some speed. I mean, you kind of have a dynamic receiving core and tight end core and weapons. I mean, you got Reggie Wayne, you got the leader, you got the height with Nicks, you got the speed in Hill, and it's kind of like the perfect receiving core, really. And how do you think Andrew Luck will pan out this year with that? Do you think he's going to have another successful year, or do you think he'll start to decline?
I think Andrew Luck's going to have a great season. I think T.Y. Hilton's going to come in and be a great receiver again this year. I mean, he's already got a few, and we've got Moncrief that's going to be coming up too. He had over 100 and I think almost 150 yards last game. So, I mean, we got some depth in the wide receiver. I see Andrew Luck doing great this year.
Now, there's many problems on the defense and holes, and a lot of people are wondering what you're going to do with that. I mean, you obviously have Mathis, who is one of the top outside linebackers last year, statistically and really on the field playing-wise, and he was a monster last year. Some say it was one of his best years. How do you think the defense really pan out? Do you think Mathis steps up again as a leader? Or do you think his age is starting to take a toll?
I believe Mathis will step up as a leader still. We've got some younger guys that's on the defense now, and I think Mathis will be a good role model for them because he had plenty of years as a defensive end. We're taking our defense back to back when it was Super Bowl year, making them fast, hit hard, and Mathis was there, so he's going to be able to be a great role model for the younger guys and the newer guys in the system.
Definitely be exciting to see how you pan out, especially with the Jaguars, and see if they have success. I mean, that'll be an interesting matchup. Hope maybe a rivalry will even be formed from that. Definitely keep my eye on that division this year. Now, going on to another question. Based on how there's been tons of transactions this year, and based on how they're going, who do you think has the most shocking? I mean, you got Ed Reed on the Redskins, along with Champ Bailey going back to his former team. I mean, there's been a lot of crazy transactions. What do you guys think is the most shocking? Roday?
I gotta say, Champ Bailey going back to his old team. Champ's been around the league for a long time, and a lot of people thought he was going to hang him up, but he just continues to prove that there can be longevity in this league, and Father Time doesn't always win. So I think that's going to be something exciting to see.
Holt?
Yeah, I got to be honest. There's not really any major transactions that's really shocked me. I've heard some rumors, about Dwight Freeney, coming home to Indianapolis, and I think that would probably shock me the most, to be honest with you. So I can't really say anything that's happened so far has shocked me, but if that was proven to be true, then I would definitely have to say that would take it.
Chris, I mean, kind of the man himself. Do you have any? Can you put an end to those rumors, or can you add anything to that about Freeney coming home?
Yeah, there have definitely been some talks between ourselves and the Chargers to bring Dwight Freeney home. Nothing's solid yet, so it's not a guarantee that he will. But we're hoping to work out a deal that'll bring him home.
Now, who do you think? What do you think's been the most shocking transaction this summer / fall? I guess you could say.
Rajay said the Champ going back home is big. Hopefully he'll be able to finish his career there. That'll be good to see.
Nice. I mean, there's obviously a reason the Broncos didn't keep him, and that the Saints cut him. Do you think do you think he's just old and injury prone, or do you think he's gonna come out and show out for his last season, or do you think he's just kind of riddled down?
I have a feeling we're going to see a big year from Champ Bailey this year. He's going to want to end his career with a bang, and doing it with the Broncos would be very nice to see.
That'd be interesting. I mean, you could also look at Randy Moss. I mean, when he got traded back to Minnesota, people thought he was going to show out, and he just couldn't get the same rhythm going. Rajay, what are your opinions on Champ Bailey?
Yeah, man, like I said, I think he's gonna show what he's been doing for umpteen amount of years in this league, that he can be a dependable cornerback and serviceable, whether out in the slot or the nickel. Or I don't see him being a full-time cornerback, but I definitely for that young cornerback role out there, he can definitely be experienced and a lead on that defense. He doesn't have to play 50, 60 snaps, but he can definitely be serviceable.
That's a great view on it, kind of like a Rondé Barber role. Now we have a special treat for everybody here today. Speaking of transactions, we have another special guest on call from New Orleans, Mr. Shelton No Money Lance. How you doing today, Shelton?
I'm doing good. How you doing, Riz?
I'm doing great. It's always a pleasure. Rumor has it that you are the league transaction fiend by constantly stalking the transaction log. Any regards to those rumors, Mr. Lance?
I have to come out and say that rumor is completely and honestly true. There are a lot of gems out there that have been cut by their teams in the preseason that can come in and have huge impacts on this New Orleans defense that is struggling against the run and against the pass right now.
You recently shipped off one of the most promising safeties in the league in Kenny Vaccaro. Can you give us some insight on the deal and how you think your team is going to pan out after making this transaction?
We feel we did what was best for the team. We shipped Kenny Vaccaro out there to the Bears in Chicago. We feel Raphael Bush can come up and step in and play a huge role and be a leader in the secondary.
Interesting. I mean, Bush is the leading interceptor right now in the preseason, so he has had some success. So we'll see if it carries over. Now, we know you have to get back to watching the transaction logs, so I have one more question for you today. Who do you think will win the MVP this upcoming season?
No, honestly, I'm gonna have to put my money, even though it's the division foe, I have to put my money on Scam Newton.
Any reason why?
Cam is a dual threat player. He can beat you with his legs, but if you let him, he will beat you with his arm.
No, I mean, that's a risky call. I mean, Cam does have the skills to do it, but you got a new offensive line, you got a new receiving core, basically. I mean, that's a tough for him to do. I mean, you have to be really sold on that. I mean, especially in your division, you must be seeing something we haven't really seen, but definitely interesting. Holt, you got any comments on him saying your star player is going to be the MVP?
I believe that Cam Newton has the ability to one day be the MVP of this league. And I'm not saying that it's not going to be this year or next year or really put a timetable on when it's going to happen. I believe every time that Cam steps foot on that field that he's got the ability to score points and put up numbers. So I definitely appreciate the nomination there for his skill level, but there is definitely some question marks on the offensive line that would kind of hamper his ability to run that read option. But as a dual threat quarterback, he can beat you on the ground. He's capable of throwing for 300 yards and rushing for 100 as well. So those numbers do add up. And at the end of the 16 games, who knows if he's got the numbers there and the league votes his way. I believe it is very possible. It just may not be this year.
Definitely interesting. Well, definitely interesting. That's all I got to say on that. Thanks for calling in today, Shelton. It's always a pleasure to have you. Good luck on your transaction watching. Hopefully you get another bite today. And with that, we're going to go take a short break, everybody.
Do you love football? Are you tired of leagues falling apart or those annoying group me leagues? Well, look no further. Gridiron Nation provides the most realistic Madden experience in the game. Gridiron Nation was founded by football fans for football fans, where you can talk football, catch highlights, and of course play in the most competitive Madden League on PS4. So come be a part of the fastest growing community. Take your fanhood to the next level and visit gridironnation.org. Gridiron Nation, we love football as much as you do.
Welcome back to Inside the Helmet. Next, it's time to have a little fun with our Around the Horn trade rumor mill, where we say if the player will be traded or if it's just a rumor. Points will be given out to the analysts each round with the most convincing argument. The winner will receive airtime at the end of the show to make a point or say a funny statement or whatever they want to say. First off, guys, we have Nick Fairley from the Lions. Him and Sue are both need to be re-signed this year, and he has come out and said that Nick Fairley's on his trade block. Do you think he's traded, or do you think he'll just a rumor? Holt?
I'm going to say that Mr. Fairley I would say that he is going to stay put. And the reason why I say this is because Sue, obviously, he's a different breed of player. He's going to be demanding a little bit more money in the offseason. I believe if they're going to re-sign somebody, they're going to re-sign Fairley. I think they're going to move on from him. His style of play just doesn't fit there. I think he moves on, Fairley stays.
Thank you. Roger?
Gotta say Fairley stays. Got some up close knowledge with that team, and he likes to blitz a lot. And Fairley is very, very, very serviceable in that defense he runs there. So Fairley stays, and I'm be honest with you, I think he tries to get Sue to stay as well. It's going to cost him a lot, but he can't give up that core defensive line, depending that his secondaries are so horrible. So I say Fairley and Sue stay.
Chris?
Yeah, I agree. He stays. I don't see him getting rid of the defensive line because, he's looking for the secondary. So without any run block, the whole defense is completely trash.
I'm going to have to give that round to Rajay based on the fact that bringing up the secondary, Lions have one of the worst secondaries there, and I think if you give up that D-line and that front seven, which holds them in most games, I think they'll get torched, and I don't think they can let that happen. It'll be interesting to see the cap. Point for Rajay. Next, we have the Panther running back duo, D'Angelo Williams and Jonathan Stewart. Do you think that one of them will be traded, or do you think they're both just rumors? Holt?
I can definitely see both of these guys getting moved. If not both, definitely at least one of them. I can see possibly Jonathan Stewart. Jonathan Stewart is definitely the younger back. He produces well. But then again, you've got D'Angelo Williams, a little bit older, a little bit more veteran presence, not as injury prone as Jonathan Stewart. He also averages over 5 yards a carry per touch. Definitely both of them getting moved. I think it's time with a new offense, Kelvin Benjamin, Cam Newton. I think it's time that they start fresh, draft somebody first round next year. It is very possible that those two guys are out in Carolina.
Chris?
I think they're both going to stay. It seems the entire league has running backs that they're looking forward to making a star running back in the future or currently have a star running back. There's no point in getting either one of them. Like Holt said, D'Angelo's getting up there in age, so I think they both stay.
Rajay?
I gotta believe they both stay to go for late draft picks. I think the NFL's transitioning to a pass-happy league, and they're not premier one-cut backs. Jonathan Stewart has a history of being injury-prone, and just D'Angelo Williams isn't a three-down back. So I don't think they can get into a backfield and make big change. So I think they both end up staying in Carolina at least for this one last year.
No, this is making it tough between Chris and Rajay. Chris, I was leaning towards you, but Rajay stole me away by bringing up the one cut and how it's a pass-happy league. So I'm gonna have to go with Rajay on that one again. Next up, we have Dwight Freeney. Do you think he'll be on the move, or do you think he'll finish his career in San Diego? Rajay?
This is a tricky one, being that he wants to go home and they want him back. So I got to say he moves for the right price. Pending to see, I want to see that go through. I hope the Colts can make that happen. So I think he moves.
Chris?
I think Dwight goes home. Indianapolis wants to bring him home, and Chargers want to get rid of him. He's getting older in age, but he can produce at least 1 or 2 more seasons. That's going to be great. I think he's going to go home to Indianapolis.
Holt?
I think he goes home. I think Freeney can make the move back to Indianapolis. Reason being is because he's already behind Melvin Ingram, in the depth chart there in San Diego. He's obviously older. I mean, there's like a 8 or 9 year difference between the two. Ingram's definitely the future there in San Diego, and if San Diego can get a mid-round pick for him just to send him home, make him happy, let him finish his career in Indianapolis, I think both the organization in Indianapolis will be much happier, as well as the player being happier he can retire at home. So I think he moves. Melvin Ingram is definitely the future there in San Diego.
I'm gonna have to give that round to Holt based on the Melvin Ingram comment, because a lot of teams, when they have the younger guy starting to progress, they cut that old guy loose right all the time. You see it all the time in the league, and I'm gonna have to go with Holt on that. He makes a valid point. Next, guys, we have Gerard Mayo. Chris, what are your thoughts on him?
I think he's going to stay in New England. The second on depth chart, I believe, is Chris White, and I mean he's young, but I don't see him taking the place of Gerard Mayo.
Rajay?
I got to say he moves, man. I know this owner. He's been around for a while. He's an aggressive trader, and he'll do some trades that have you like shaking your head sometimes. So I think Coach Talib down there in New England will find a way or find a team that'll buy this guy out and take him pretty high. And it'll just be one of those trades where you'll go back and think, hey, was it worth it at the end of the day for New England? And we'll just got to see how it pans out. I think he moves.
Holt?
I agree. Though I think Mayo stays, I agree with what Rajay was talking about as far as the owner in New England. He is an aggressive trader. I think for the right price, it is very possible. However, he does have the tendency to overpay in his trades. So I feel like he would end up losing out if he was to trade Mayo, not only on a veteran player. I'm looking at this linebacking core, I'm just not seeing anything. So as far as Mayo leaving, I think they would really lose an integral part of that interior defensive part of their front seven. So I think if Mayo goes, not only is he going to overpay for the trade, but he's also going to be out of veteran players. So I think he stays.
I'm going to have to agree with Holt on this again, because based on the fact that he's running out of veteran players, this is a defense that has struggled back and forth, and they have a lot of young guys, and I think that they will move a linebacker. I just think it won't be Mayo. I think it'll be a Hightower or a Collins. I think it'll be one of them. I think he can expense one of them. I don't think he can lose Mayo and still succeed. Going off that, what do you guys think about the Buccaneers trading Vincent Jackson? Rajay?
Vincent Jackson is going to move. The question is whether they're doing season 1 or season 2. The Bucks coach has been adamant about getting this guy out of there. I don't know if it's a personality thing or a character trait. He's banking on Mike Evans being that number one guy and getting some speedy receivers throughout the draft. But if he could, he'd have been moved already. But it's just the way it works. So he's going to move. It's just a matter of when.
Holt?
I totally agree. I think it's just a matter of when, whether it be season 1, season 2. Vincent Jackson's time in Tampa Bay is obviously over. Coach has made it very aware to the rest of the league that Vincent Jackson is not needed. I believe that he's really going to rely on that Mike Evans, Devontae Adams style. And, both of those guys, rookie receivers, they got a great tandem. You got Mike Evans 6'5", Devontae Adams 6'1". You got a good mixture of possession and speed. So that's the future of the Buccaneers receiving core. And Vincent Jackson's definitely out in Tampa Bay.
And Chris?
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with everybody. He's getting older, and Mike Evans is 21. They're both pretty fast, but I think Mike Evans is going to win out the starting position, and I think Jackson goes.
I'm going to have to go with third time in a row, Mr. Holt. I think he brings up a great point about how I think Vincent Jackson loses his starting position and the rookies take over, and I think he goes in a new direction. I think that's the reason he gets rid of him. Lastly, we have Greg Jennings from the Vikings. He had an off year. Do you think the potential for him getting traded is there, or do you think it's just a rumor? Chris?
I think he's going to stay. He's not going to have much trade value after this season because Patterson's, to me, seems like the better receiver for that team. He's going to decline because he's not going to get as many receptions, and Patterson's much faster. So if he don't go this season, then he's not going to be going anywhere other than free agency.
Roger?
I think he leaves. Vikings are trying to go into a different direction with Teddy Bridgewater under the helm as the rookie, and with Cordell Patterson coming off an awesome rookie year. They also have Jerry's Wright, another wide receiver that can do some damage underneath on the small route. So they have a wide receiver that can stretch you deep, and then also a wide receiver that can go underneath and challenge those linebackers. Also be aware that this guy's already making trades. He's got Cap Muller out of there. Send him away to Tampa Bay, possibly pending approval, but it's already out there and he's getting draft picks. So I can see him trading away Greg Jennings for a third or fourth round draft pick in next year's draft. So I think he moves him.
And Holt?
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I think Greg Jennings, it seemed like when he made that move from Green Bay to Minnesota, it was just never a good fit. Immediately, his value, it was right after he left Green Bay, went to Minnesota, his value, even as a fantasy player, just completely dropped. He never really came in and dominated the receiving core like he did in Green Bay. He's just anywhere between 3-4 years older than all the receivers on the roster. Minnesota's already been talking about getting rid of Jacoby Ford. Jacoby Ford could be out of there. He's one of the second oldest receivers. Looking at young talent on this receiving core here. You got AP running the ball. He's not showing any signs of slowing down. I think this receiving core is definitely going to be going in a new direction with new Teddy Bridgewater. You got young receivers, young quarterback. You got AP. This is a new direction, new team. Greg Jennings just doesn't fit this team. So I think he's on his way out. And if it's not through trade, it's definitely going to be through free agency in the offseason.
Although you make a great point about him leaving no matter what, I'm going to have to give this to Rajay based on the fact by naming those young players and Patterson and Wright and Teddy Bridgewater. I think that they're going with a new young style offense, and I don't think Greg Jennings fits there. I'm going to have to give that to Rajay. Now we have a two-way tie, with Rajay and Holt. We're going to go under a tiebreaker round, and that, sorry Chris, but kind of had to get kicked off. All right, guys, time for the tiebreaker round. Rajay and Holt, this is going to be a tough one. You guys have to really sell me on this to get the airtime for this episode. What team was not a playoff contender last year makes a big trade that impacts their team enough to make them a playoff contender this season? Rajay, why don't you start us off?
I got to go with the Chicago Bears in the NFC North. Bringing in Kenny Vaccaro and that safety definitely shores up that secondary that needed a playmaker back then in that deep safety position. They struggled years with Chris Conte. Major Wright wasn't the guy. So bringing in that player that's exciting as he was in New Orleans just helps secure that defense up. They have a great offense that has firepower with Alshon Jeffrey and Brandon Marshall. So scoring will not be a problem for this team. But definitely defending is their problem. And they have a problem with pass defense. That's always been their problem. So they bring in Jared Allen, a great pass rusher. Then you bring in Kenny Vaccaro, Kyle Fuller. You still have 10 Jennings across the other side. I mean, that team is now just slowly building the right pieces that complement each other oh so well in the passing defense to where they just get a couple wins, knock off Aaron Rodgers or Matthew Stafford, who like to throw the deep ball, who will challenge your pass defense. They can do great things, and I think that Chicago Bears last year, who started hot and ended soft, finds a way to just continue to make it and compete and somehow find themselves up in that lucky six in NFC and surprise a couple people.
Very, very interesting. Can't say I'm smiling after that. So, Holt?
I got to be honest here. I'm going to go in a completely different direction here. I'm thinking AFC. I'm thinking AFC North. And when I say AFC North, I'm thinking the Cleveland Browns. I think the Cleveland Browns, they went out in free agency. They really did it big. They really signed a lot of, core players and filled a lot of holes that they were missing. Dante Whitner being a big one in the secondary. You match him up with Joe Hayden in the secondary, their defense is getting scarier and scarier. They go out and they draft a young quarterback, Johnny Manziel. I mean, that just has potential all over the place. They've got a great linebacking core. Jabal Sheard, you got Paul Kruger. I mean, you've got the linebackers are just all over. They signed Carlos Danz. Their defense is probably one of the scarier defenses in the league, and you put that in the AFC North, which is where defense is bred. And you got the Steelers, the Ravens. I think they're going to compete in that division this year. Their offense is better, should be better than it's been. They got a good receiving core, young guys on the receiving core. You got a new quarterback, and it looks like there's going to be a little bit of a battle between Manziel and Hoyer. So from what I can tell, the Browns really did it right by putting together, using some of that cap space, going out and filling the holes that they had to on defense. Their defense is so fast and so scary. Their secondary is unbelievable. Their linebacking core is great. I really think all they need is go out there, find them sure up just a little bit, maybe that little offensive line, maybe find one more offensive threat. And I think you're looking at a playoff team, a team that not only missed the playoffs, but a team who really missed the playoffs. A team who has not been in that playoff conversation, but you're looking at a team who can go out and possibly even win that division. So Cleveland Browns is my pick.
I totally disagree with you, man. I think that running back and Ben Tate is just too many questions back there. Those wide receivers they're not experienced, and that quarterback. Here we are going to the week 4, and we're banking on Johnny Manziel for his arm, which has never been anything that people raved about. So. And that AFC North, where defenses come out. So, I mean, it's going to be a challenge, but we'll see.
Holt, do you have any rebuttal to Raj's original statement?
Absolutely. I think, the running back situation, absolutely, that brings up a good point as far as where that they make that trade. They make a trade, get a running back. We mentioned, possible running backs coming out of Carolina, you get a good trade there. Whatever it be, even if it's a band game. Manziel, yeah, he's a rookie quarterback, but, they said the same things about Cam Newton when he came into the league, offensive rookie of the year. So they said the same things about, other quarterbacks come in. Yeah, their arm wasn't sure. He didn't have the deep ball. He didn't have the accuracy, whatever it may be. Johnny Manziel might not be the next Cam Newton, but what I'm saying is that what they're saying coming into the draft, what they're saying about his career in college, that really has nothing to do with what happens on Sundays here in the NFL. So as far as I'm concerned, new rookie quarterback, that's a new lifeblood of this team. They got a great offensive line. Their defense is scary. It's going to create turnovers, short fields. Any quarterback can score on short field. They sure up make that trade for a running back. I think you're looking at a playoff team.
Roger?
NFC South, AFC North. Two different defenses, totally. Cam Newton came into a situation where he had the ability, where he could run, and he could scare you with his passing. Johnny Manziel does not have that. And if he did, we wouldn't be arguing about a quarterback battle between him and Brian Hoyer. So a lot of question marks on that offense that just not going to save you. I think Dante Whitner is more known for what he can do inside as far as coming up in run support, not what he can do in the pass coverage. So I think there's still some holes in that secondary they got to fix up. They're banking a lot on Justin Gilbert as the other cornerback. I think he's going to be a standout, but that secondary is going to suffer, I think.
Final rebuttal from Holt?
All I know is that you're totally right. NFC South, AFC North, completely two different teams. I think Steve Smith's making that well known when Steve Smith made the transition. He goes up there, Joe Flacco throws 60 times a game. He's having half a yeah, two different styles of football, two different situations. But I guess what I'm saying is that the prelude to be able to say something about a quarterback before he steps foot on the field is a little premature. All I'm saying is that they make a trade, get you a good solid running back, and I think behind this offensive line they can really score some points. I really like the Browns in this situation. The Ravens don't have the running game that they once had. The Steelers don't have the defense that they once had. The Bengals are really the only other team that's kind of consistent from last year. So really, all they have to do is win that division. I think you're looking at a 10-win team here, and 10 wins, in the past, can be good enough and can also fall short. So 10 wins, win the division. I think you're looking at a playoff team.
Now, you both make great arguments. And the winner by a slight margin, drum roll please. And the winner of the first inaugural Inside the Helmet season is Roday. I'm going to say, based on the comment of the difference between the defenses that Cam Newton faced and Johnny Manziel will face, I think that if you look at Dick LeBeau of the Steelers, 16-2 against rookie quarterbacks, and the Ravens are just as good, smash mouth football. I mean, the defensive coaching there is what's prided on in the AFC North, and I don't think they can get to 10 wins. And I think if they go out to make a trade, they'll create another gap that they can't fill. And based on that, I'm going to have to give this to Roday. Big congratulations to Roday on winning the first episode here at the Inside the Helmet. And why don't you take over the mic? You got a little airtime. Say whatever you want to say. Say a joke. Say what you want to say about your team. Open mic. Here you go, buddy.
First I want to say thank y'all for having me, Ryan and Chris. You great opponents, but at the end of the day, man, when it comes down to analyzing the team, I do this for a living. When it comes to my Jaguars, though, man, definitely stay up on Jaguars news. And we posting everything as far as who's going to start this week, who's sitting out, fantasy predictions, who you should put in. And we always looking to raise the bar when it comes to the media game, man. So I know we'll be posting some videos of upcoming practices we have. Just stay tuned to that. And like I said, man, I can't wait to challenge you guys next week on this Inside the Helmet, round of the horn type thing. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, analyst is my job, and without it, I'm nothing.
Thanks, Roday. Congratulations on the win. Tune in the next week, everybody, for the next episode. We're going to start doing this every week, and hope we get the same turnout. Thanks, everybody.